How do I register a song on BMI? Go to bmi.com and this is the homepage that you'll see. And if you already have an account, all you have to do is log in. Of course, if you don't have an account, you need to join BMI. You need to sign up for your performing rights organization. I'm actually already signed in. I did that ahead of time, so I'm just going to go to this other tab. So once you're signed in, you will have this back end on the website. So as you can see, here's my name right here. I'm signed in. These are all of the artist tools that they give you. It's not as pretty as their homepage, but it's extremely capable. The part that we want to focus on is the works registration right here. It's the second one in the list. So go ahead and click that. And then you're going to be brought over to the place where you can actually register your works. Works are the same as songs. So this is where you register your songs, okay? So I need to select my account because I have a publishing account as well as a writer's account. But if you're just signed up as a writer, which most of you will be, you won't need to worry about selecting any particular account. It'll automatically default to your writer's account. And then you just need to add a new work. As you can see below, here is a song that I've already started to submit. So it does allow you to save, maybe finish later if you don't have all the information. So don't worry about that. But for this walkthrough, we're going to start a new work from scratch. So I'm going to click this green Add New Work button. So once you click Add a New Work, there's just 5 steps that you need to go through to submit that new work to BMI. It easily breaks it down into these 5 sections for you here. All you need to do is just fill in the information and then click Next. So for this fake song that I'm registering today, it's going to be a rock and roll song. So I'm not going to check classical. I'm going to check all other genres and then click Continue. Okay, so here we go. So the work title is the song title. So I'm just going to type in fake song name. You would put the real name of your song in the work title. Duration is optional. Sometimes I fill it in, but since this is not a real song, I don't know what its duration is. I'm just going to leave it as is. And the work content, this is important. If it's a rock and roll song and you compose the music and the lyrics, then you're going to check music and lyrics. If it's an instrumental, you're going to check music only. So since this is a rock and roll song, I'm going to check music and the lyrics. Language is English. And if I had an alternate title, I would have a chance to add that in right here, but I do not, so I'm going to X that out and click Next. Okay, so we see our title, fake song name, still under my account. So it really just walks you through it so easily, and you just need to decide for each individual song that you're registering whether to answer yes or no for these questions. So the first question is this work an arrangement of a public domain work or a foreign lyric version of another work? For my original rock and roll song, the answer is no, because this is an original song that I wrote. I'm not doing an arrangement of a public domain work, right? If I recorded Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, then I would check yes to this, but I didn't make a rock and roll version of Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. I made an original song, so I'm going to check no. Does this work contain samples or medleys? This one is really important if you are in the genre of hip hop, because a lot of times hip hop music does contain samples. The really important thing to know is that any samples you use in a hip hop song need to be cleared with the publisher before you can release the song. Otherwise, it is copyright infringement. So my tip to you is don't use samples ever, no matter how you're doing it. If you're ripping it off a YouTube video or taping it from the television, or however you think is a creative way to gather those samples, it still is copyrighted material. So I say just do not use samples, because when you find success, you're going to be hating yourself because those copyright holders are going to come after you, your success, and your money because you use their samples and they want a piece. So do not use samples. I did not use samples in my rock and roll song, so I'm going to click no, and I'm going to go next. Okay, so this is where we indicate if there are publishers on the work. There's 2 ways to answer this question. You're going to check no if you are a self-recording, self-releasing artist who records their own music, maybe works with a producer, but they do not have a record deal or any publishing deal that will qualify them to register their work with a publisher. So to reiterate, if you don't have a record deal or you don't have a publishing deal and you are self-published, check no, and BMI will automatically capture that publishing royalty and include it along with your songwriting royalty automatically. You don't have to do any extra work. But if you are signed to a label or you do have a publishing deal, you're going to check yes, because you need to allocate funds to your publisher because they do work for you and you need to give them their cut. Otherwise, they're going to come after you and they're not going to like that. So I have two options here because I have my own publishing company. I'm also published by Velvet Green. Let's say that I am publishing with Lionbold, so I'm going to select that. If I had a new publisher, I would enter that in right here, but I don't. I'm going to select Lionbold. And then down here under ownership, I'm going to put the percentage that the publisher gets. Now, in BMI, the percentages are actually out of a 200% scale because the way that they see the math, there's 100% for the songwriter's royalty, and there's an additional 100% for the publisher's royalty. So, if you are self-published and you checked no in that previous box, you're going to put 200% all for yourself. But since I checked yes to a publisher in the previous window, and I'm allocating some of the publishing to Lionbold, I'm going to put 100% of ownership for the publishing, and I'm also going to put 100% in the collection because those should equal. Then for the writer's portion, I'm going to select myself. So under role, I'm going to select composer/author because they want you to either check composer or composer/author. If you just put author, that's not enough because they want to know who actually wrote the song. So author's not enough, just put composer/author. And then under writer's share, I'm going to put 100%. Then I'm going to select next. In the next section, there are more questions. So the first one, are there any artists? If my song was released and distributed on Spotify and iTunes and there was a performance of it, then I would check yes, whether that artist is myself or that artist is someone else that is covering my song. But since my fake rock and roll song is not released yet, I'm gonna check no. And since it's not released, there's also no recordings. But if there were a recording, I would check yes. And then lastly, was this work created for film, TV, theater, or music library? I'm gonna check no because this work was created to be a commercial release, just like a normal song. I'm gonna click next. And we are pretty much done.